Hey guys, welcome into the Pucker Reborn channel. Today we're going to be checking out the BM31 Katyusha truck. If I said that wrong, let me know. All you Russians out there, you guys would know the pronunciation. I can't even say that properly. Anyways, today we're going to be checking out that in Call to Arms, Gates of Hell. Let's get a better look at this thing. So this truck here is loaded with 12 rockets on it, and it may be familiar, maybe you've seen in your history books there, but it's really feared among the Germans, especially because of the downrange capabilities. In particular, the rockets that are firing off this truck are high explosive, otherwise known as HE. So they definitely make a crater and hit things in a radius, doing damage to armor and killing many soldiers on top of that. What I want to do here is check out really how far this thing can actually fire and the damage that it's capable of, the spread of the fire as we get closer into long, mid, and short range firing. And Prima's actually manning the truck right now, and from his perspective, Prima, what's your thoughts on the actual range of this truck?
Oh, I love this truck. I mean, as we all know, that range is king in this game, and this truck can shoot up to 280 very comfortably, and it deal 12 large damage at the same time. So I would say it's definitely one of the kind of artillery in this game.
Perfect. Yeah, so also guys, as you can see, we already did test the range on this thing. I want to make it a point, while we did do that, we're going to actually show you real time how this is going to look when it's all said and done. However, in terms of the longest we could actually fire this truck from his position, as you can see, I'll actually turn the camera here. I mean, he is way over here. The truck is right here. So he fires downrange, but at 280 yards, the farthest that the rockets actually went in a cone-like shape would be here, here, and here. So it's very, like Prima had been saying, that 250 to 280 is kind of your sweet spot downrange. So Prima, when you're ready, go ahead and fire. Let's see what this thing can do.
Okay, fire, fire, fire.
Oh, that was actually a good last one there. All right, so yeah, go ahead.
That was 250 yard.
Okay, so 250 yards. We had a bunch of soldiers die in this area here. We did have a rocket stray way off to the side of the screen here, but most of the barrage, if we're talking about it being right down the middle, you can see how it's wildly inaccurate. But when it does hit, all these soldiers in this radius were killed just from the one explosion. I believe it was this shot right here, but it killed everybody here. This guy right here is not injured. Let me just see. I know we had some rockets over here. No notable hits otherwise, but that one that was on point was pretty dang huge. The reason that I'm not going to pull tanks and light vehicles just yet for the long range is because really where you're going to be using this in your conquest is going to be against you're going to use it against AI, and they always do like a grouping thing. There's just a crap ton of enemies. You can probably rain hell down in a defending stance and kill a bunch of things. But just to give you the idea of the spread, it's pretty crazy. So let's go now and check out the mid-range, and this is where we'll start using tanks, etc. Alright guys, so now we're going to be going at the mid-range. This is from 150 to 200 yards. I did end up mixing the vehicles around so you can get a better understanding of the damage that it's going to do to armor. First off, we have the SD-221. This is one of the first trucks that you have, really light armor. Then you have the medium armor SD-231, which is more powerful, better armor in the front. And then we have in the back here the Panzer III, the M edition, so it does have some more armor on the sides and stuff, but just to simulate the damage to that. And then finally we have the Panzer V, which is a heavy. It's the A edition, and it is the heavy tank, and we'll get an idea of that as well. After we fire this thing off, we'll have a better understanding of the armor, and of course you have the soldiers spread out to see what the radius of damage is going to be as well. So Prima, when you're ready, go ahead and fire.
Okay. Fire, fire, fire.
Okay, so we did actually have some hits. We had some shock troops, and surprisingly the heavy tank actually took a bigger beating. Most of the soldiers are dead. There are 4 soldiers still alive yet, but let's see what the damages are. I know that the first rocket that actually blew up was one of these 2 right here. So let's take a look at the first vehicle. So the SD-221 actually has a comprised damage across the whole truck. The engine is damaged, one of the wheels is almost busted, and of course the turret on top is going to be hurting. If I go in here, everything's still moving pretty good. Driving is fine. So really, that close of a range did do an overall damage to this truck, but it wasn't enough to disable it. Now this vehicle right here, the 231, has this about the same amount. Actually, it's all yellow across the board. It must have been this hole right here. So you can kind of see, if I move this forward here real quick, we'll move it right back to where it was. You can see that with the radius this close, I believe this is 30 armor in the front. It could be 25. If you want to check it in the comment section below, we can figure it out there. But for the most part, all around, you can see the shock damage that happened to this. Also, it did shock the crew inside at the very end. You could have seen that as well. It did kill, again, I think this was another blast right here, but it did kill the soldiers around. So that's really powerful, of course, against soldiers. Now, the medium tank actually didn't do any damage to it. I don't think there was a shot that was close enough. We did have some shots way back here, but nothing significant. Now, if there was a shot behind the tank, you're looking at about, I believe it's about 10 armor in the back. So there's a good chance you can at least take out the engine of a tank. But for what we can see right here, it didn't really do much. Now, we have the heavy tank. Now, the heavy tank actually got hit. So the rocket, as you can see right next to the tank, ended up blowing the track off. So we already lost the track. The engine is heavily damaged. The really the center mass of the tank is pretty well damaged. Pretty much everything from that side of the tank is well hit, but this shows you how much damage this thing can actually do, providing that it is at least next to the actual vehicle. Now, if it was head on, I imagine it would have blown this thing up, just based on the damage already shown here. So let's see here, did any of the crew members die? That's the next question here. It looks like they did, so they did lose some crew members as well. There's only 3 left. So yeah, pretty wild, pretty wild. Now this is again mid-range. These guys could be farther back, but you do see that there's still quite a bit of spread. You'd really want to hit, like, at this range here, you're looking at more heavy forces. This is like a resort that you need to kind of figure out on your own, like, as to judge how many soldiers or tanks are on the field. Besides that, let's see, Primo, there was something you were talking about. Oh yeah, we're gonna go over, actually now I remember, it was the speed of the actual truck and how it's gonna roll up and then take firing. This vehicle, one thing I do want to bring up in terms of this mid-range, is really good, can be good for like that hit and run scenario, because the truck can cook down a road. It's really fast, go up to 70 miles an hour. Is that correct? I think it was 70 you're saying.
Yeah, it was 60, 70 miles per hour at least.
That's crazy. So if you were to run up, take a shot, and be able to get out of there, that is a very well possibility, especially if they're like hunkered down in one spot firing at an enemy. The other thing too that these trucks are great at is getting into bases if you just want to blow them up, and we'll show that at the end of the video. So let's go into short range and see what this thing can do then. Now we're going to check out the short range of this truck. I know there's going to be a lot of you guys that say anybody who keeps their truck this close is an idiot. They're going to lose a lot of money. They're going to have a big explosion on their hands as well, probably kill a lot of things. I understand this isn't conventional. I'm just, this is just for testing purposes. If I was to throw a scenario out there as to why you would have this truck this close, it would be a defending mission on your dynamic conquest campaign thing. So the thing is that if you're normally, you would see a truck hiding behind a building, so like you'd have it back here. But if the enemy's pushing with its tanks and it's just sitting right outside your base, this could be the Hail Mary that you need to wipe everybody out. So anyways, Prima, when you're ready, oh my. Alright, just so you guys know, we have not tested this portion of it. But as you can see, hell has broken loose. So
there's
again,
a reason why you want to do it within 100 yards.
yeah. Okay, realistically, you're probably not going to be firing at this range. However, realistically, there is going to be an opportunity for you to shoot at this range. You could be attacking a defending base or defending, like I had said before. But let's check this out. So we had direct hits. We ended up having a direct hit on the light, or the 221. The 231 ended up getting a direct hit. That was an insta kill. This is what's interesting. So the explosions around, we didn't have a direct hit on this tank, but I think that the massive, you can see we had 6 shots, actually 7. So 6 shots that clearly made a mark in the ground. Just the impact from all around killed everybody in the area. Ended up just demolishing this medium tank. Most of the soldiers are dead. There's only, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 soldiers alive. I can't imagine this guy right here. He's probably going through some really traumatic events right now. Now he's bleeding out. Also, so the medium tank was destroyed, and of course we have our... The point of the matter is, this tank was not completely destroyed. If you see on the mini-map here, I'll actually zoom out so you can see it better. So on the mini-map, it killed the tank crew. It did enough damage where one of the tracks, at least, yeah, so, oh no, both tracks were destroyed. The armor's probably melted off. This tank, I mean, even a heavy tank went through hell at this range. You can fix it, still take it over. That's really what everybody's looking for. So in conclusion, from long, mid, and short range, it seems like between, obviously short range is unrealistic for every time you fire this thing. But if we're talking about mid-range, this thing can really cause some massive damage. You did enough to stop a medium tank or a heavy tank from doing anything, and you, of course, obliterated these other vehicles or damaged their engines. It's a massive improvement. But yeah, Prima, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I would recommend probably anywhere between 150 to 200, just because it does take quite some time for the vehicle to unload all 12 rockets, and chances are in very close quarter combat you may lose your truck within that time frame. But in mid distance, I would imagine this to be absolutely a nightmare to fight against.
Yeah, so now guys, we're gonna do 2 final tests. We're gonna do a hit and run with this vehicle, being that it's so fast. We're gonna run up, he's gonna fire it, see what the accuracy, how it all looks, and then book it out of there. We're gonna kind of simulate that, and then the final thing will be a defending base. So we'll use this on a base that has a bunch of troops in it. The next test is going to be the truck firing from 200 yards away into a simulated base. Now we do have both of our vehicles in here. The main thing is the center target is going to be the fuel truck. Now I understand when the fuel truck blows up, it's going to be a big explosion, which could cause more problems right here in the middle. Generally, my soldiers are right in the middle. He's got guys on the outside. And you're also going to see in the top corner of the screen here, the deaths. So again, this is just to simulate. Everybody's spread out, and we'll see what it looks like if we're just using the truck to blow up the base. So Prima, when you're ready, go ahead and fire.
Okay.
That was a good shot. Okay. So that was pretty interesting. That was pretty interesting. So we did end up having direct hits. The fuel truck did get taken out. I've been using it, so maybe it didn't have as big of an explosion as I was expecting. The soldiers that were waiting are now destroyed. Oh, his tank's moving, but oh, there it goes. That would have been a direct hit had it blown up. The little tank, Prima, did that little tank take any damage?
Yes, the hulls are yellow.
Okay, so even from the range, granted, this is a very, very light tank. This is a very light tank. It's not going to take a lot of damage, but as you can see, soldiers are dead all around. For these soldiers were fine. You have one direct impact on both sides. My tank off to the side here didn't take any damage. The rockets didn't get there, and I had some soldiers over here. It looks like one survived. There was one over here somewhere, so I think he got blown up right there. The interesting thing about that rocket barrage is we did have some bombs that blew up along the hill here. So again, wildly inaccurate. Surprisingly, we were actually just talking about the mid-range and how it just didn't feel as effective, or even more longer range, how it didn't seem as effective as we feel like we've tested it before, and it seemed. So just understand, guys, it's going to be inaccurate. There's times when it worked great and sometimes it's not the best. But yeah, so the last test we're going to do now is the hit and run. And finally, this test here is going to be the truck running down this runway here all the way up to a tank, and then it's going to set up to fire quickly. This is just a test to see how fast you can get to a point, then take a shot. It also is something that probably you won't use in the game, and most people would say that's just crazy because you blow it up, whatever. If it gets destroyed, that's a lot of money. Understandably so. But if there is an opportunity for you to do it, you can see how fast you can set up and blow stuff up. We do have a random assortment of units and stuff. We just want to see how accurate this thing will be. So, with that being said, Prima, when you're ready, go ahead. Okay, here we go. There is debris on the road. This is to be expected. If you think about it, like in the game, there's a lot of obstacle courses. Okay, it has stopped. Now let's see how fast this thing can set up and
fire.
Okay, so in terms of that, flew down the track quite fast. In fact, the other truck ran with it, came right up behind the fuel truck. We're actually pretty low on fuel, but ended up shooting everything. Everything was destroyed except for the heavy tank. Wasn't even close to getting hit, didn't get hit at all, but everything else was destroyed. Oh, there's one soldier still alive. Again, is this the most effective thing in the world? You know, do what you gotta do. Maybe it's your last ditch effort to save a base or whatever the case is. Then you can kind of check that out. All right, finally I'm going to give my grades for each one of these scenarios, and we'll go from there. I gave the BM31 a B score for downrange attacks in terms of 250 to 300 meters, and the only reason is because the impressive range is great, the explosions are great, but it is highly inaccurate, which can be a downfall. At 150 to 200 meters, it still ended up grabbing that B+. The only reason is because, again, it was pretty inaccurate, but it's hard to beat out 12 rockets slamming into the ground, blowing stuff up left and right. The BM31 really does shine in closer combats. While I'm not advising that, at the 150 mark is really the sweet spot. It definitely earned a grade of A by just destroying the targets on a consistent basis. Base defense is one of the most important aspects of Gates of Hell. And so if you're talking about base defense and you're with the Soviets, you definitely want to be looking at the BM31. Being able to clear out a forest in the distance, being able to clear out a field of AI or against another player, this thing can really shine in this area. Definitely gave it an A. On the flip side, it's easy to see that it's best utilized as a base assault weapon. As long as your front line has moved forward and getting ready to capture something, you can bomb the absolute hell out of any point, any base, any type of forest, land you can imagine, and this thing will pave the way for your forces. Very easy A+ grade. It may not seem like much, but top speed is really important, especially for base defense or just getting to a better position. The faster you can set up, the faster you can kill the enemy. That's what matters. Top speed is an A. Now we all know durability doesn't hold a lot of water when it comes to this type of vehicle, just because it isn't meant to be on the front line. It's meant to be attacking from behind. However, if it does get hit, it's going to be a very big explosion behind your line. That's why it's only getting a D-. So damage output is definitely a B, and it's simply this. It's not meant to be a nuke. It's not going to kill everything that you see on the field. However, it will soften all the armor up. If you have a heavy tank, it's going to turn that heavy armor into plastic, and that's what you want by the time they get to the front lines. Finally, we look at the overall cost / management, which is going to be a C+. Here's the thing. These trucks can suck a lot of ammunition from your crates. The ultimate thing is if you just have it by itself, it can shoot 3 different barrages. That's not a lot. It does, if you use it correctly, it can be amazing, but it's not a lot. If you do refill it, you can avoid the heavy penalty cost when you go back to base. The other thing too is they are expensive, and it's a long tech tree to be able to get to these magnificent weapons. Now, you have to make the management as to what's best here, because you will see the impact if you do not keep these things reloaded. Alright, and that is going to do it for the Katyusha. Guys, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Was it an awesome vehicle? Was it a terrible vehicle? Would you use this? Do you love it? Guys, let me know. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe for more content like this, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!